So I'd like to welcome everyone and call this meeting to order at 4:02 p.m. This is the Tarrant County Food Policy Council General Meeting for April 2022. My name is Becca Knutson and I am the current chair of the Tarrant County Food Policy Council, and today's meeting is the purpose is to give updates on what we've been working on for the last couple of months. We'll hear from our working groups, our committees, and we have a guest presentation from David Lewis, who we will hear from in just a moment here. If you'd like, go ahead and put your name, title, and organization in the chat, just so we know who's here, what organization you're with. We do have most of our board members here today. We are missing a few, but their reports will be given by others in the group. So go ahead and take a minute just to introduce yourself and get familiar with that chat box over there. Throughout the meeting today, everyone is welcome to participate. Please feel free to jump in with questions, comments, opportunities for collaboration. We will have some time at the end of the meeting to make any announcements. If you have any events or questions or things you need help with, we can probably find someone to connect you with if we can't solve it here today. But we will start out this meeting with our officer reports. So we will go down the line here. Let's see, Harrison is our secretary. Do you have a report for us?
Hey everyone, Harrison here, secretary for the Food Policy Council, which means that I'll be taking minutes throughout the meeting today. But I will also be sending out a recording at the end of the meeting for anybody that wants it. So if you feel like you missed something and you'd like to be on our email list to get meeting updates and recordings afterwards, drop your email in the chat and just say as much, and I'll add you to our list, and we'll be sure that you get that, because we wouldn't want you to miss the next meeting, which is going to be on Thursday, June 2nd at 4 p.m. So we'll also have that information out on social media for anyone who found us through there. And if you didn't find us through there, feel free to follow us on those channels. And I think that about wraps it up for me. I'm going to put our general email into the chat there in case anybody needs that. You can also reach out there as well. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Harrison. Next is our treasurer's report, but I do not see Brenda Patton here. She is our treasurer. So if she joins later, we will call on her to make her report as well. Past chair, Susie, do you have anything to share?
I don't think I do have anything to share today at this point, but glad to see everyone and glad to be here with you today.
Wonderful, thank you. Catherine is our vice chair. Do you have any reports for us?
Not at this moment. Board members, please be on the lookout from an email from me asking you to fill out our survey about the Meet the Board campaign so we can get those up on our social media and have an introduction for all of you. So that's all I have today.
Awesome. And then I am the chair, and most of my information today is part of other reports, committees and working groups and things. So I will save that for that time. I do also want to just give a shout out to our Vista Destiny Lane, who is not here at the moment, but should be joining us later. She's been working hard on several projects for us. So if you get to see her in any of the working groups or committee meetings, give her a good shout out as well. She's been working to update our local food map, so you may see some changes in the data on there from time to time. She's trying to get everything really organized on that map. And so if something's missing, don't worry, we're going to get it back up soon. She's also been posting to our social media platforms. So if you have anything that you would like posted to social media, feel free to share it with us through Facebook or Instagram. But you can also send her an email with those links to events or articles about your organization. And I will put her email address in the chat here in just a minute, but she's been working hard on those projects as well as supporting the work that our working groups and committees do. So if she's got something to say a little bit later, we'll let her jump in and speak for herself as well. But next we have our guest presentation. Does our Ed and Events Committee want to introduce our speaker for today? Maybe we didn't really discuss that, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, yes, we certainly can.
Awesome.
Let's see. All right, so today we have a guest that we are all very excited about. We have David Lewis of the Arlington ISD, and he is the Food Nutrition Services Director. Am I getting that correct? I'm hoping
Yes,
so.
you are.
And I won't spoil the surprise, so I will just invite you to dive on in. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen. And I'd certainly like to thank the council for inviting. And I really want to recognize the Baylor Collaborative on Hunger and Poverty, Ms. Nicholson and Ms. Chan. It's through their just continued support of myself and our department, and that who has introduced us to the council. And so thank you very much. And I want to talk a little bit about our district first, and kind of the priorities that our district has in our community, and then how our department fits inside of that. And so our district has a little over 56,000 students. We have over 74 campuses. I have 74 campuses listed on there because that's where we provide food to. So we provide food to 74 of our campuses. And our community is 73% under-resourced, or 73% economically disadvantaged. And so it's incredibly important to us and to the district of being very mindful of the community that we're in. And obviously, our first concern will always be educating students. That's our number one priority. But we know that when you have a stronger community, that just opens up opportunities and resources for your students. And so there is a priority on being very community involved and working inside that. I'm just going to give you an example of these are things that just happened last weekend. And so things like this are going on throughout the year. But last weekend, we opened up a food pantry inside one of our junior highs. This is on your left-hand side, you see the Nichols Junior High. It's a new food pantry that we just opened up called the Mustang Market. And you can see in the picture to your right, most people on this call are going to recognize Ms. Julie Butner, who is the president and CEO of the Tarrant Area Food Bank. We have our superintendent there, Dr. Cavazos, and then the mayor of Arlington, Mr. Jim Ross. The importance of food pantries and making sure that we have just food available is going to become a little bit more shown as we go on, and the involvement that we're doing. But this food pantry is just phenomenal. It's not just a pantry that you open a door and we have some things that are inside a closet. This market is one that families can come into. They actually shop around in there to gather what they need. This is in a collaboration with Tarrant Area Food Bank, the City of Arlington, and also Albertsons and Tom Thumb. We'd like to recognize them in this. And in the same weekend, we had a family expo, and I showed this just to kind of lay out the various partners that we work with within our community. This is just a small example, as you see over on the right-hand side, and you see all the organizations that are listed. There's many more, but it's an example of kind of what our guest presenter was in February, Mr. Herrera, and what he was talking with in, as he described it, every one of these is a puzzle piece, and you kind of lay it all out, and you fit it together. So you're organized, you're collective, and you don't have all these things just kind of overlapping one another. You're in a very precise machine, if you will, that's organized and reaching out to all aspects that the community needs. So it's just again showing the aspects of our district. This was organized by our PACE department. We have a parent and community engagement office that's led by Mr. Aaron Corrales, and they do a phenomenal job of gathering all the resources that are around. Just 2 hours ago, I was in a meeting with them as we are planning to open up several additional food pantries throughout the district. We have 5 additional ones that are opening up next week, and pulling together the sustainability of those. Everything that our district does, it's very important to us that we're able to sustain that. So we bring lots of people to the table to make sure that we're not only sustainable, but that we're reaching all parts of our community. Again, that same weekend, we also had the UNICEF's Kid Power Active Day. What was really special about this is that they were at Ashworth Elementary, and they were celebrating the community service of the students. And so not only does the district do a lot of involvement with community service, but it's taught in our schools that a responsible citizen is involved in their community and they're giving back. This particular picture shows so much. So Arlington happened to be able to host the WrestleMania, if anybody's a wrestling fan. So we had WWE stars there. We had Dallas Cowboy players there. We had UNICEF's chief people officer there. And then we also had a National Medal of Honor Award winner there. And they all came together to congratulate and to recognize what the students at Ashworth had done. And the students did lots of different activities that opened up packets of food that went around the world. It was like 244 packets that went around the world. They're working with food pantries and donating to them. They were working with mobile food pantries, and they also planted some trees as well. And one of the things that just kind of captures this event was the National Medal of Honor Award winner is Captain Swenson. Captain Swenson received that Medal of Honor for his bravery and actions in war. But I really liked his quote here. And, he said there, basically there's a hero in everyone, that you don't have to be on a battlefield. You don't have to, be in an arena. You just need to be a good person, and just kind of relaying that message. And so I thought this was just an active, an awesome event that was given to our students in the recognition of the work that they did. And so that's just an example of our district and the importance that we place on community and community involvement. And now I'm going to get into a little bit about food and nutrition services. And I don't know, my screen is not advancing. Did it advance on your screen?
It's still on the UNICEF Kid Power Day for me.
Thank you. Here we go. And so our department, and as we sit inside our district, we have a little over 550 team members that support the food service that goes on at our 74 campuses. The priorities that we have are meal accessibility, meal acceptability, and food safety. And so those are our focus areas. Everything that we do falls inside of those. I'm going to talk a little bit more about meal accessibility today, but that does not mean that the other two aren't as equally important to us. And so with meal accessibility, we really look at that in 4 different areas. And so here's our picture of our front. They're really the face of our department. As parents, whether they're calling or they're coming in, they're going to see these two first. We have Yesenia and we have Alicia. And it's really important to make sure that the students who are eligible for benefits receive those benefits. And so there's a lot of work that goes on to make sure that our families have signed up for meal benefits. A lot of activity in making sure that our policies are creating those opportunities for accessibility. And so we do operate the community eligibility provision at 35 of our campuses. And basically what that means is that at that campus, the students don't have to qualify for free meals. They qualify automatically just by attending that campus. So 35 of our 74 schools are operating CEP, something that our district very intentionally went into to make sure that those meals could be given to that part of our community. And then even our district meal policy and this, the mindset of our board was really to make sure that it didn't matter if a student had a negative balance, that they would be able to receive a meal and receive a meal of their choice. And so there's a lot of districts that have policies in place that, you know, they'll provide either a courtesy meal or there'll be a meal not of the student's choice once their account reaches a certain negative balance. Our district does not do that. We want to make sure that the students are fed, and regardless of a negative balance, they're going to have a meal of their choice. And so that's just some of the work that we do on policy and on making sure that the students receive benefits. A very small thing that we did as we changed to taking our meal applications earlier in the summer. And so typically we would start to take those in August, and we just moved that up about 3.5 weeks into July to start taking meal applications earlier. So they're just very small things that you can do. There's some other things that we increased as far as our outreach and how we're reaching families for those benefits. But that's one area of making sure that meals are accessible. As I get into the other 3 areas, they're more focused on making sure that a meal is basically closer to a student. But we certainly understand that simply because a meal is within arm's reach doesn't mean that that meal is accessible. Meals can be within arm's reach, but still not accessible to a student, whether it's based on funding. And so that's why those policies and those benefits are so important. So as we step from that, we're going to go into just meal accessibility when you're in the school. And so there's various things that we try to focus on. I know Ms. Nicholson is going to see this picture here of the one that's the kiosk that's in the hallway. And we kind of use the slogan of start your day strong with breakfast. And you can kind of see that that's carried in some of our other campuses. So this is Short Elementary, where we see the kiosk in the hallway. What you see in the picture frame is what we call a second chance breakfast. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the one in the hallway. And so this is breakfast in the classroom. So students don't go into the cafeteria at Short Elementary at breakfast time. They just walk to their class. We actually have this set up right here, set up in 3 different areas in the school. So there's 4 areas that students can just come into the building as they're walking to their classroom, be able to pick up a meal, walk to their classroom, and eat their meal. Ms. Nicholson had an opportunity to actually award Ms. Martinez, who is our principal there, with the Hall of Fame breakfast, and so just opportunities like that to make the meal. Hey, you don't have to walk anywhere different. You can just walk into class, and on your way to class, just happen to pick up this breakfast at a convenient spot. The picture on your left is a high school. So this is Lamar High School, and what we have there is second chance breakfast. High schools start very early in the morning. Sometimes you're just not hungry whenever you get there, or if you're like me, you're not arriving to high school in time to grab a meal. You're just running to your class. And so this gives an opportunity, what we call a second chance. And so between your first and second class period, then you're able to grab a breakfast at that time and then take it in to a classroom. And so there's things that that we can do right inside the school where to make meals more convenient to just pick up. And we also work, one of our partners that we work with is New Day, and they do a tremendous job with weekend backpacks. And so they work at several different schools that we have, providing backpacks to students. So they know that obviously on the weekends that they're not in school, we're going to help you out with some meals in your home. So these are things that we can do to make meals more accessible inside the school. And then there's also outside of school. And so we have to make meals accessible during non-school hours, during non-school days. And then we have, obviously on our left, there's organizations that support us in our efforts. And as soon as you start listing names, I know that we probably left somebody off, but I do want to recognize those that are on the left. And so what some of these pictures are is down at the bottom left, we have a bus. And so we were actually able to go to our homebound students, medically ill homebound, and just drop meals directly off at their door. And so that was the group that started us off. That was a partnership with our transportation department. We made meals accessible at night. If you look at the bottom on the right, that was actually a night picnic that we had at Thornton Elementary. A really fun night where we just bring out grills and we grilled hot dogs. It was actually, that one was during the pandemic. Obviously we have our masks on, and so that was a drive-through. And so the community was just driving through, and we were grilling meals and putting those into the cars. They had all of their teachers out there that day dancing, music just blaring. We went pretty late that night, and so some of the homes around, they definitely they were definitely kept up from the activity going on. When you look at the top right, that was some of our distributions during the pandemic when it was only going through our curbside. But we wanted to do why I put that there is we wanted to make sure that we could sustain that through all kinds of weather. So that's why we purchased the tents. We had tents up. So during high winds, we were protected. During rain, we were protected to make sure that we could stay out there at all times. With that, we were also making sure that we were there during non-school days. One of my favorite pictures that I have, I didn't share that with you guys here, and I very, very rarely can I talk about it and not get choked up, because it just shows the passion of our team. And so it was pouring down rain, and it was on Memorial Day. It was a holiday, not around Memorial Day, not the day before, day after the holiday, and pictures of our team just out there delivering meals. And it's one of my favorite pictures because it just reminds me how much passion our team has for our community and just knowing the need that they have. The picture on the top left, this is engaged with our parent and community engagement department. And it's just opportunities that they present that we come alongside, a lot of nutrition information, a lot of health information, but then it's important that as we go out that we're combining things. So if we have an opportunity, we're going to be handing out information on, how do you qualify, for SNAP. Here's information on that. Here's who you can go to get assistance. Here's information on meal applications. There's just so much of the time that when we have an opportunity, you want to make sure you're making the most of it. And so getting those benefit informations out, and when you're providing meals, that you're also providing other opportunities, other resources throughout the community. And so I'm just taking advantage of every opportunity you have. And we're really thankful for our PACE department and the opportunities that they provide us. And so at a lot of these events, we're also bringing in meals to them, but we're also marketing what we are presenting to the students. And so many times what we'll do is we'll create meals that just come right from our school menu, and we'll present that to them, so the community also starts to see exactly the meals and what our students are receiving. And so there's a fourth area of meal accessibility. So we covered the one that we just need to make sure that we're providing every benefit to students that they have, because again, just simply because you make a meal closer to somebody does not necessarily mean it's accessible. The things that we can do inside the school to make sure that the students have a easy access, more convenient access to meals that are right inside the school. And then here we start to step outside the school, but we're still focused on students and delivering meals to students. The next opportunity we have is more of a community-based meals. And so, yes, it's going into our community. So yes, it's hitting our students, but it's not necessarily centered around the student. It's centered around the community and families. And obviously we know that when we're feeding or putting more meals into community, it does put more meals into the hands of our students. But we work with Tarrant Area Food Bank, and we have a meal distribution. We have done 15 so far this school year. We have 4 additional ones that are planned, and the partnership with Tarrant Area Food Bank has just been phenomenal in this. And so right now it's the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of every month at our Career Tech Center from 4:30 till 6. We're just putting meals into families' cars. We average probably about 120 to 130 families who come by there during each distribution. What the fun part is that you're bringing other people into the community involvement. And so since we started doing this, we had our CFO come out and help us. Our purchasing department, who you see right there is Miss Lisa Phillips, and she's the director of purchasing. Security comes out and helps us with each distribution. Facility services, communications department. We've had teachers, librarians, and then of course the Career Tech Center where we're being hosted, the location. But it's really fun as when you start to do things, just as, I mean, I'm talking to the choir here, as you guys know, when you start to do something and you can bring others in and really get the service attitude and passion going. We work with the Arlington Police Department on events that they do. We actually have another one at the end of April, on April 30th, where they do their bike rodeos, where they gather the kids. They do a lot of giveaways as far as bike helmets and various activities so that they do. We just come along beside them and we provide meals during those events. We have the YMCA. We feed the students and children at the YMCA all year round. We'll be doing those all summer. We do it all school year, and then during our Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break, we're serving at the Y. And so this is more just community based and providing meals out into the community. And so when we look at meal accessibility, we're looking at all those 4 aspects that we just described. And trying to expand on every one of them, and what can we do better to make meals more accessible. When we talk about student meals, it has, accessibility means nothing if it's not acceptable. And so we really do a lot of effort to make sure that the meals are student driven. What we have right here and at the bottom left, it's just making the experience better. And so the bottom left, this picture was actually at Workman Junior High. We fed over 1,000 students out on the lawn. And you kind of see in that far right corner of that picture, we are set up there with grills. So we just moved all the tables outside, grilled outside, and fed over 1,000 students on that afternoon, just making the experience of eating better. In the top left, we have our chef, Carl Betts. We have Yesenia again. You had seen her in a previous picture as one of our front end, kind of the face of our department. And then we have Juliana. They're actually going over a script right now. So we do small videos. Back when I was in school, we had announcements that just came over a loudspeaker. Announcements now are actually on videos. And so we put little small clips into videos to describe some of the new items that we're going to have. A lot of our items that we try to do are international items. And so what they're doing a script right now from it was South America, and we try to find somebody from our department that actually comes from that part of the world. They'll kind of describe the item that we're going to be serving, how it's typically served where they are, the celebration that it's around. We get them really hyped up for it, and then we just sample it that day and letting them know that it's going to come on the menu at a future date. And so again, it's just all about introducing them to new items. And then we have a bus there because right now we're in the middle of our field trips to our test kitchen. And so we're in the middle of a bond project that we just had. Our community has blessed us with a very substantial bond that the district is working on. And my department was blessed with that as they updated our warehouse and office area. And we have a really state-of-the-art test kitchen and training area. And so we have field trips of students who are coming in to our department. They're visiting our test kitchen, and they're sampling items. They're giving us just lots of feedback on things that we currently serve, things they want to see. And then they tour our warehouse because it's important for us to to let them know, hey, your food just doesn't miraculously appear on your campus. There's a great deal of work that happens to get the meals and then to get the meals here and then to get the meals out to the school. But the most important thing we want them to realize is that it's their voice and their opinion on what meals we bring in, what food items that we bring in. And it's been a really great success. We're getting lots of feedback. And so we typically do this on Wednesdays and Fridays. So tomorrow, again, we're scheduled to have groups of students come in. We're going to do a lot of taste testing. They're going to give us a lot of feedback, and we're going to tour. And so that's just a small example of some of the things that we do for meal acceptability. Because again, just because it's accessible doesn't mean that it's acceptable. And so we want to do a lot with that. And then I had mentioned the three things. So we had meal accessibility, meal acceptability, and then food safety as our three priorities. I don't have a slide for the food safety, but we do a tremendous amount of work with the city of Arlington. Miss Amy Rockhill Carpenter is their supervisor in health services. And she does just a tremendous job. Every one of the health inspectors she has are so incredibly polite and just great trainers. We bring them in to our manager meetings. They train our managers. We work with them. And then we also just do things like we just 2 years ago purchased a cellular monitoring device. So we had monitoring where we could follow the temperatures of all of the refrigerators and freezers that we have throughout the district. We have over 200, and but they were on the network. And so if the electricity went down, the network went down, then we lost the ability to be able to look at our temperatures. And so it was important to us during storms that we keep up with those, even if the electricity went out at that school. And so we found a cellular company. And so even if the electricity goes down, the network goes down, we're still able to track the temperatures in our freezers and refrigerators for that food safety. And so those three areas, again, are our focus areas. What we have coming up next is our summer. And the map that I have right there, I just have that up there to remind me to talk a little bit about how strategically we look at this. And so we'll plot all the areas that we have our sites. And if we notice that, hey, we have a gap within our community, then we're going to reach out to our community partners and see if they can fill that gap. And so it's very important for us that even during the summertime that we're covering our community with sites. And then the picture on the right is one of our concession stands. And so we also want to make sure, again, that we're a little bit more accessible. So our high schools are very large campuses. And so we want to make sure that we're not just serving inside, that we're also serving outside the campus in another location. And so that was just an example that we had last year at one of our high schools. We serve all summer, and so the very next week of after school ends, we start up with sites, and we go until the day that we start school back. And so we will be up on May 31st with sites, and we'll go until August 12th, and then school starts back on August 15th for us this year. Right now, we have 34 sites scheduled. That'll go up a little bit as we get some more camps that are involved, but right now we're scheduled to go up on 34 sites right now. And then we're also in the middle of planning for a district garden, and so this is a really exciting opportunity for us. In the master plan that we have, the district strategic plan, we have a spot for a district garden, and we're really wanting to make this state of the art. We're putting together a proposal for a grant right now that's very sizable, that we're hoping can really start this off well, and then just keep it sustained for years to come. I'm also looking for an area for like trees though as well, fruit trees, and so an orchard, if you will. So not just the a garden, but also fruit trees that can just last for years. We actually have an organization that is wanting to kind of start that off with 4 trees during Earth Day this month. And so we'll be working with them, with our city, and trying to put that in to more of a strategic master plan, if you will, for the garden. But those are just some of the things that we work on, and I'll just kind of open it up to any questions.
Mr. Lewis, that's fascinating stuff you're talking about. And I have so many questions, but I think a lot of them have to do with, I'm curious about how your teachers, or whether your teachers, integrate some of these things that you're doing around food and culture, and pretty soon growing vegetables into the curriculum. I'm curious, for example, about, if you're introducing a new food from another culture, another part of the world, whether in the social science classes, they then pair that up with teaching about that place, whether you have a program to train the kids in horticulture and food prep and all that stuff.
All of those, you are correct. And each one of those is yes. And so one of the initiatives that we have right now is that our district is opening up to universal pre-K. And so pre-K for all 4-year-olds will be free this next year. We work closely with our pre-K director, Miss Dr. Orsini. The things that they do to, like, we'll introduce a fruit, if you will. And so they will have that fruit in class, let them touch it, smell it. We do things like a small tossed salad. We know that this pre-K student probably is not going to eat this tossed salad, but we put it onto their plate, and then their teachers are able to describe, well, fill that lettuce and talk about the lettuce. And so it's very much so we're able to incorporate some of these things. When we talk about some of those meals, we have 3 language schools where we teach Mandarin and Spanish and French. And so in those schools, we specifically target those cultures, and then the teachers have an opportunity to talk about those. And many times we have those teachers, we bring those into our mini commercials, if you will, to talk about how they ate it when they lived there, and the celebrations and kind of the meaning to them. When we talk about things like breakfast in the classroom and bringing food into the classroom, certainly there's there's teachers who are a little bit more acceptable to that than others. I guess it depends on how clean your students are in a particular meal. But just one of the things when you're in a district that's 73% under resourced, most of your of your staff, and most of the team truly understands the importance of that meal, and they truly get it. And whatever circumstance or whatever obstacle comes in their way, they're just going to overcome it. And so yes, the curriculum is very much involved in what we're doing. I mean, it's an example of that is the field trips that are coming to our test kitchen. I mean, we're pulling students out of classrooms and bringing them here, and this the support that we get from our teachers and our principals, and what that does, it also shows that the students, we'll bring a fourth grade class in, and the importance of their voice and the importance of their individual voice. And I tell them, I mean, we're about to make decisions today from what you tell me for all 56,000 students. That's the value that we're placing on your individual voice. So all of that goes into the curriculum of the person, and letting them truly understand that their voice counts. So yeah, all of those things that you had mentioned, very much so, they are involved and supportive.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, David. Does anyone else have any questions for him?
I do. David, thank you for sharing. My name's Harrison. I work for a Taste Project here in Fort Worth. It sounds like you guys are doing so much to feed your students and your communities, and that you're doing so much from the education standpoint too. I wonder, do y'all have any programming regarding culinary training or cooking for the students to get involved in that way too?
Yeah, and so one of the things that we're doing right now that's really neat with some of our culinary students, and so all 6 of our main high schools have a culinary program, and their program is kind of the beginning program, and then at our Career Tech Center we have the advanced culinary program, and so I'm working right now with a couple of our high schools, and so they come and to these field trips, if you will, that we're bringing here to our test kitchen and our tours. And what I do is I give them our pantry list. So these are all the ingredients that we have access to, and they are now preparing items that we're going to be putting on our menu next year. And so we have a event for our Bowie High School and Sam Houston High School culinary teams, where we're going to be showcasing what they come up with and their ideas. And we'll be doing that the first week of this May. And then those items will then be placed onto the menu for next year. Our advanced culinary team at the CTC is ran by Miss Monroe. Just an incredible group and some of the achievements that they've done. They've won so many different awards, and some of their menus and items and concepts that they have done are actually on restaurants right now. And so restaurants are actually serving the dishes that they have created. And so, yes, there's a huge importance on that throughout our district. And, we're trying to utilize that as well, but not just our current students. And so we have students who have graduated, alumni of AISD who now own restaurants throughout Arlington. And I'm going to be reaching out to them to do the exact same thing, and to create menu items for our line. At our high schools pre-pandemic, we had 4 different lines, 4 different concept lines that they could go into, about 16 different entrees a day. Right now, a little bit different because of supply chain and that. But we're trying to get back to those concept lines. Well, one of the lines that I want to create is the line that is, these are menu items right from culinary students from AISD, both current and past. And so it's a kind of exciting idea for us.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing.
I think I have one final question for you, David. Thank you so much for presenting today, all the amazing work you do. I just want to reiterate that we're a huge fan of your work and want to support you in any capacity that we can. And so as you're planning your summer, and you just touched on a little bit about the supply chain, what can the council do for you? What could we do to help you with all the goals you have and all the work you're doing?
And this isn't the first time that Ms. Nicholson has asked me this. She asks me this all the time. Their support is never ending, and that's, I thank you for that. Right. I mean, our biggest need right now is people. There's some of the things that we're not able to do right now simply because you don't have the staff to do them. So, I mean, any effort that you guys can put out, we actually have I'm just going to do a little plug right here. We have a job fair that's happening April 30th, Saturday, April 30th, right here at our Food and Nutrition Center. We're gonna be here from 9:30 till to 12:30, and just come interview if you want to be part of a team that is just incredibly passionate about feeding kids and feeding the community. We want you to join our team, and that is probably our number one needed resource right now. Are just people who are willing to join a team, people who have just a spirit of service and are passionate for kids.
Excellent. I believe as part of the communications committee, that's something, if you have a flyer or something, we could share that on our social media to just get it to, a few more channels. And help spread that word.
I will have that to you. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. I keep promising a magic wand. This is the best I can do.
Yeah, and again, while I'm here, I just want to take this opportunity to recognize both Ms. Nicholson and Ms. Chan. The support they give, again, is phenomenal. You guys work directly with her, so you guys know how incredible she is, and just the tiredness that she has to just continue to support. And so again, I thank you, and I thank you for providing this opportunity to share out on some of the things that we're doing.
You're too kind, but thank you. We appreciate it. And we are, again, very grateful you got to come today and share all the good work you're doing in Arlington ISD.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, I'll go ahead and stop sharing.
Wonderful. Thank you, David. And if you don't mind sharing your contact information, maybe in the chat. That way, if anybody else has ideas on how they might be able to collaborate with you or support the work you're doing, y'all feel free to reach out to David afterwards and connect on various projects. Awesome. Thank you again. That was a wonderful presentation. So we've got lots of reports here to do, and I know that some folks will probably have to leave right at 5. If you can stay a few minutes longer, great, but it shouldn't be too much longer today. But first we'll go with Brenda, is our treasurer, and you've got a report for us, Brenda.
Can you guys hear me? Yes, awesome. I did deposit the check from the $5,000 grant that we had worked on, that Susie and Becca had worked on. So our balance is $10,723 with 66 cents. And the only charges since the last time we spoke were our mailbox and our GoDaddy account. That's it for me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brenda. Next, we have our working group reports. So our working groups are where most of the work gets done. So if you're looking to participate in any of these different topic areas, each group will let you know when their next meeting is. It should also be on our website as well. And Dave and Lauren, if you don't mind, I'm going to have Alexandra go ahead and go first. And she is co-chair of our Children's Health Working Group.
Yes, I am. Hello. I am, as Becca said, one of the co-chairs of the Children's Health Working Group. I work with Vahista Usuri. She is not able to join us today. I also work for the City of Fort Worth and the Community Action Partners. Our current focus as a working group is where our goal is actually to create policy that will change the default beverage on children's meals at restaurants. We're starting in Fort Worth with goals of expanding throughout the county. We last met on February 16th, where we brainstormed a name and tagline. So we have Sip Smart, or hashtag Sip Smart, and a tagline of "Kids are sweet, their drinks don't need to be." We also had further discussion on an infographic to summarize the campaign, logos, and webpage design, and more steps to take as we continue this work. This working group meets on the third Wednesdays of even months at 10:30 a.m. So that means that our next meeting will be on April 20th. And if anyone is interested in joining that or any future meetings, that is the email address, children'shealth@tarrantcountyfoodpolicycouncil.org. And I will also drop that in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alexandra. Next, we will go with our Community Gardens and Urban Agriculture Working Group. I'll turn it over to Dave and Lauren, who are the co-chairs of that working group.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to present on our behalf, but I will call on Lauren at one point, which she already knows about. So at our last meeting, we had a guest presentation by Ms. Sandra Stanley of Opening Doors for Women in Need. They have a community garden in Como, and she told us about that and what it means to her clients and the elders in the community. So that was really cool. Jesse and Charlie gave us an overview of new developments with the farms in the Grow Southeast network. And one of those that's really cool is the Urban Farm Apprenticeship Program at Opal's Farm. So they have a couple new farmers that they're training, which is really exciting. Tabor Farms is moving full steam ahead. Mind Your Garden Urban Farm had their first healthy hour. So rather than alcohol, but to have healthy food and good community. And then Black Wall Street Farm, we heard an update from them. Challenges, volunteer coordination for all of them except for Ms. Opals. She volunteers, but we're going to come back to that momentarily. And then some issues with vandalism and theft at two of the farms that they're dealing with. Lauren gave an update on the Terra Negra Food Bank's community garden program, and we welcomed new gardener Manny Herrera. The new market garden that's being put in at the TAFB West in Parker County. That's really exciting. And then I wanted to ask Lauren just to share a little bit about it's not Dig Deep any longer. It's now Growing Healthy Communities Conference on July 16th.
Thank you so much, Dave. So I am doing a shout out for our Growing Healthy Communities Conference. In the past, the largest body of speakers has come from this group. Our amazing presenters typically have some connection to community gardens, urban agriculture, local food systems, food justice, also nature, any kind of well-being benefits from nature. So I would love to encourage all of you to take a look at our conference information. I just dropped it in the chat. Please do think of the idea that you want to share a presentation for, and go ahead and submit your presentation idea. I would love to have presentation ideas in by April 20th so that we can go ahead and start getting some information out to people about the presentations that are going to be shared. July 16th is our conference. It will be from 9 o'clock until 4 o'clock. It is in person. We will be at Fort Worth Botanic Garden Britt. And we're really excited about this conference. We're hoping to expand attendance. We're also going to be offering some children's sessions and activities. We have a group of presenters that are specifically focusing on those children's presentations. So that piece is taken care of. And I'm really excited about the adult and high school sessions and presentations that I'm going to start seeing from our amazing Tarrant County Food Policy Council and our community here. So if you have some great ideas revolving around well-being and local food systems, nature, gardens, urban agriculture, all of the things that we do, please take a look at that and let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Lauren. Just a couple more things from us. And so we started planning some new projects that we'd like to work on this year. And one of them relates to what I just mentioned as a challenge for some of the gardens in Grow Southeast. Ms. Stanley also mentioned it as a challenge for the Como Community Garden, and that is getting volunteers on a regular basis. And so we're hoping to work with other committees in the Food Policy Council to see if we can catalyze a way to make those volunteer opportunities more accessible through our website, maybe other venues. We'd also love to partner with the fundraising committee, and Brittany actually attended our meeting, which was really nice of her and to get us started on this. But we'd love to do some fundraising. We don't know what that looks like yet, but she kind of has some ideas, but fundraising for money that we could then award as small grants to community gardens and urban agriculture projects serving communities that don't have enough access to healthy, nutritious food. So that's something people have been asking for years. So if we could make it happen, that'd be awesome. And then finally, Grow Southeast has run into a bunch of challenges in doing what the Fort Worth Urban Agriculture Ordinance wants done. And so we're trying to work with them and with Blue Zones, Brenda, to maybe get some things changed at the city or streamlined or whatever to make it easier for people to start urban farms, which is really what we want. We don't want to make it harder. So these are some of our projects, and we really would love anyone's help with them. Our next meeting, I'll put this in the chat, but it's Thursday, May 19th, 3 o'clock to 4:30, and we'll be via Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dave and Lauren. Brittany and Gina were not able to attend our meeting today, so I have the update from the Food Recovery Working Group. If anyone else who participates in that group would like to jump in after I read their message, please feel free to do so. So the Food Recovery Working Group works on kind of both ends of food recovery, composting, and recovering food that is still edible and getting it to people who may need it. So their last meeting was on March 4th, and they have been working on a resources page for our website that will be focused on food recovery efforts, and they will send it to our board for review before getting that posted. Brittany did mention that she attended the last CGUA working group meeting, looking for opportunities on ways the two working groups can partner on different projects, since a lot of the efforts are closely related. And let's see here, their next meeting is going to be on May 13th at noon. And I don't have a link for that, but I will double check after this meeting and make sure it gets up on our calendar if it is not already. Anybody else have anything for food recovery? Okie dokie, then I will turn it over to Susie and or Brenda for the new policy working group. Do y'all have anything new to share?
I don't think we do. If Susie, is Susie on? But like David said, I think we're gonna start, I think at the last board meeting, we talked about starting like more of a project by project scenario for our work group. So the biggest need that is out there is to modify and work on that urban agriculture ordinance that exists. I think that's what we're going to tackle first. If anybody's interested, we haven't met yet. You can reach us through our general email, or I'll leave my email here as well.
Very nice. Thank you. We've got just a couple more reports here. Next are our committee reports. Committees are typically internal committees for, that board members are on. But we do have some general members that participate in those groups. So if you have a particular expertise or interest in participating in any of these, please feel free to reach out to us. First, the communications committee. I can go ahead and give that one since I know Catherine's got another one she's doing, but feel free to jump in. So communications committee met earlier this week. We are posting on social media. We have some website updates coming. I did make some updates just recently that Destiny Arvista pointed out some links that needed to be fixed. And we've also started drafting that list of volunteer opportunities webpage on our website. So we'll get that passed on to the board for approval and keep adding to that along the way. So as a member, you might get an email that says, hey, if you've got volunteer opportunities, we'd love to post them. And then Catherine, what am I missing?
I believe that's it at this moment. We just the volunteer page and then social media campaigns or anything that needs to be posted, please communicate it to Destiny or the anybody from the communications team.
Awesome. And then I'll let you keep going with the education and events committee updates.
Perfect. We have secured our speaker for June 2nd. We're going to have Carolyn Miller and Tamika from Region 11 come talk to us about the waivers and what has changed around the summer with the summer meal program. So the program that operated the last 2 years at this moment will not continue throughout the next summer. And so what that looks like and how the council can be a support as families need to re-engage with the program in the traditional way. So they've agreed to be our speaker for June 2nd. And then please be on the lookout for any opportunities to volunteer with the board. We're going to be setting those up as we, a board, will go and work with those communities, maybe those gardens, Dave, that we were talking about. And we would like to invite the community to come volunteer with us. So please be on the lookout for that.
Very nice. I have an update from our fundraising committee from Robin and Brittany. So again, Brittany attended the last CGUA meeting to discuss how that working group may start some fundraising efforts for different garden projects in the community. And Brittany has some ideas on how they can start doing that. Brittany also mentioned that she would like to run a simple Facebook campaign with an open call for funding partners, and she'll put something together and run it across the board when they're ready. And then it looks like she has one funding partner that is interested in doing some cross promotion. So I'm sure the board will hear about that at our next meeting, and we can bring those updates to y'all as we have them. And then our last committee is our membership committee. Susie and Harrison, do you have any updates for us?
I hope my internet is not too choppy right now, because it has been. Membership committee is working on adding a membership management system called Wild Apricot to our website so that we can have online membership and some other ease of joining the council, but also do have some other features and enable us to do some other things that will facilitate more activities for the council as we do them. So I think that's our update for now.
Wonderful. Okay, so those are all of our committees. So again, if anybody has interest in helping with any of those committees, especially fundraising, it sounds like it's going to be busy here pretty soon. We would certainly love help from any of our other members. But now I would like to open it up for any announcements, comments, ideas, questions, problems you're having. Please feel free to jump in and make those announcements. I'll start with one. The Cowtown Farmers Market is having our spring festival on April 23rd at our regular market time of 8 a.m. to noon. And I will put a link to that Facebook event and our website address in the chat here in just a minute while the rest of y'all are making your announcements.
I don't have an announcement, but I do have a comment. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So my son is in AVID program. He's in 7th grade, and they have to do community service. And they've had a hard time at getting community service opportunities. And so I would encourage all of the groups to have opportunities for middle schoolers and high schoolers, and maybe advertise it out to them in order to get them more involved in our goals.
Awesome.
Sabrina, I'll share out that our learning garden opportunities are open to 8 and up with chaperones. So, you know, we do like adults to come with the middle schoolers, but we would love to have them out there if they're looking for an opportunity.
Oh yeah, that's great. I'll look for it and I'll forward it to his AVID teacher.
Yeah, on that note, Taste Community Restaurant as well can do 12 and 13 with guardians, and 14 and up on their own as well, if that's of interest.
So I'll just say the spring plant sale at the Botanic Garden is tomorrow and Saturday. So I encourage you to stop by and get some stuff to plant.
Any other events or anything going on at the food bank coming up? Susan, Lauren, Kathy?
Oh, go ahead, Susan.
No, go.
I was just going to share that Empty Bowls is one of our major events at Tarrant Area Food Bank. And so, you know, that is coming up at the end of April. And then I'll let Susan share hers because hers is more immediate and I've already talked about mine.
Well, can y'all hear me? I was going to actually share a couple of things. One, I don't know if anybody's mentioned this. Charlie, has anybody mentioned about Mary Jo being at Cowtown with the kiddos?
No, ma'am.
You want to share? Do you? I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but it's fun to mention.
It's your thunder. Go, girl. Make thunder.
So I found out about this because we're having our seedling giveaway this weekend. So the Fort Worth Botanic Gardens is producing over 2,000 plants for our community gardens this year. And we are delivering those. The pickup day is Saturday. But Mary Jo can't make it because she is going to be at Cowtown Farmers Market with kiddos from her schools doing a plant sale of their own. So if you've got multiple options for plant sales this weekend.
And Tarrant County College, TCC, Tarrant Community College, what are we calling that? Anyway, they have a plant sale as well. They donated probably over 1,200 plants to Grow Southeast to help all the farms get started so that they didn't have to start their own seedlings this year. So if you are in or around them, they're at the Northwest campus, and their plant sale is this weekend too.
Okay, we'll do one last call for announcements. Otherwise, we will let you go for the evening. I appreciate everyone being here today. Thank you again for David for his wonderful presentation. And make sure to connect with each other on how we can help continue to improve our local food system. All right, y'all have a wonderful evening. We will adjourn at 5:10, Harrison.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you.